Did I give everybody their $5, right?
Yes.
Everybody got 5?
Yes.
Of course, we do amazing words. Aaron, will you go over there and circle the word mock for me? There you go. What does mock mean? Do you know, Aaron?
Like you mock somebody,
What do you do when you mock somebody?
like you say what they're saying.
Yeah? You make fun of them, don't ya? Yeah? Okay. Raiden, you want to find idle? Can you circle it? Do you know what idle means? No? Does anybody? Here?
Like when you start the engine in your car,
Okay.
and you let it run for a little bit, it idles.
Okay. What's another way of explaining it? Joshua? Yes. But it's spelled differently. What about not being busy, not doing anything? You're just, I'm idle. I don't know if that's idle.
This is
Are you idle right now?
Yes.
Okay. What about who can find potential? Christopher, can you circle it? Tia, you can do the next word. We only have 4 words. Do you know what potential means?
Like there's like he has energy inside you. You're just doing nothing.
Good job. You got
Good.
a sword in there?
It was like a powerful.
Something is possible, right? I think that every single one of you have the potential to be amazing when you get adults. Do you understand what potential means? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, Diego, find ecstatic.
What?
Do you know what that, ecstatic? Ecstatic?
No.
You know what that means? You know what it means?
Nope.
No?
Non-static.
Don't know what it means?
Nope.
Does anybody? Were you ecstatic to get up this morning and come to school?
I was.
No.
My kids were. Means you're happy, you're excited, right? Were you excited to get up and come to school today? No? Why? Did you enjoy your sleeping in time?
No, I enjoyed staying up and looking at diamonds.
You did?
On Minecraft.
Okay, we're going to have our read aloud, and you need to look and listen for those 4 words, okay? The read aloud is called The Myth of Icarus. Do you know what a myth is?
Yeah. That's made up.
Okay. And this is about a boy who flies too high. What do you think that's going to be? What do you think it's going to be about?
Like a boy that flies high and then dies because on Minecraft he flies too high.
Really?
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
Aaron?
Yeah, you could. No.
Yeah, his dream
Okay.
is to fly high.
He's flying too high and he can't get back there.
Okay,
It's like
I guess we'll find out, won't we? Long ago in Greece, there lived a great architect, inventor, and craftsman named Daedalus. One day, the king got angry with Daedalus and banished him and his son Icarus to the island of Crete. The only way to escape from the island was by sea. The sea was so vast and rough that it seemed to mock their attempts to swim across it. Daedalus and Icarus knew if they tried to use a boat, they would be arrested. Did you hear one of our words in that paragraph?
Yes.
What word?
Mock.
What is it saying then? The sea was so vast and rough that it seemed to mock their attempts to swim across it.
Like it was like so hard to get across.
Like
What did mock mean,
like he
remember?
wanted to get across it, but it just was.
He's making fun of
It was just.
Yeah,
swallow.
that's what it's trying to, yeah, you're very right, okay?
It was just basically.
Okay. Daedalus did not want to stay idle forever on Crete. He knew that he had the potential to find a way off the island. Daedalus thought hard about what to do. Finally, he came up with an incredible idea. If he and Icarus could not escape by swimming or using a boat, they would fly. What 2 words did you hear?
Idle and potential.
Idle and
Potential.
Daedalus spent months designing 2 sets of wings. The wings had to be strong enough to support him and his son on their journey. He collected feathers and sewed them together with string. He held the feathers together on a frame with wax. He added leather straps that would secure the wings on their arms. What do you think they're going to try to do?
The one's gonna try to push them like a glide.
Finally, he finished his invention. Daedalus fitted 2 wings onto his son's strong arms. Then he gave him careful instructions. He warned Icarus, do not fly too low. You must fly high enough so the feathers will not get wet from the sea mist. Damp wings will pull you down and your arms will tire. Icarus turned away, ready to fly, but his father stopped him. Daedalus added, son, do not fly too high either. The heat of the sun will melt the wax, and the wings will not hold together. What do you think is going to happen?
It's gonna melt. It's gonna melt the.
He's going to go too high,
Yeah, you can fly too high and then it's gonna melt and then it'll fall again.
and he'll fall into the water, huh? We'll see. And so Daedalus and Icarus jumped off a cliff, each wearing a set of wings. They flew miles and miles over the sea. They headed toward the mainland, and their wings drifted on air currents. Their arms did not tire. The incredible flight thrilled young Icarus. He was ecstatic about his new ability. Before long, he began to ignore his father's warnings. He soared higher and higher. The soft wind blew gently on his face, and the sun warmed his skin. Icarus did not realize that the sun's rays were melting the wax that held his wings together. His wings began to fall apart, and Icarus fell into the sea. The sea swallowed him, and soon Icarus drowned. Daedalus had lost sight of his son and reached land alone. Days later, Icarus's wings washed up on shore. Daedalus realized what had happened, and he cried bitterly, lamenting that his invention had killed his son. The sea where Icarus died was later named the Icaran Sea. The sea has kept that name to this day, and you can find it near the island of Crete. So what did he do wrong?
It flew too high.
So he didn't even listen to his father, did he?
I would just use the wings to swim.
What do you think about that?
I said
Let it go.
Do you think you can make wings and fly like a bird?
No.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
shot this guy did and then he
You don't think you can?
broke his finger.
Since we
I
just
don't
heard
get
that
it.
story.
Was he on separate
No.
wings or something? Yeah, separate wings. Like when it was a.
Well, yeah, they had one on each of their arms, and they were just flying
Is that
in the wind current.
Yes, that is true.
It is.
Yeah.
That's impossible. So he fell into the sea.
Okay,
Yeah.
our new vocabulary words. I think you guys are going to really enjoy the story that we did this week. I'm excited about
Basketball.
it. Basketball.
Ooh.
Everyone knows what basketball is, right? Yes? Okay. What about disease?
A problem
Does everyone know what a disease is?
Yes.
Okay. Freeze.
Yes.
Of course, you know what freeze is. Guard.
Yes.
You watch over or protect something, right? If you're guarding it. Popular.
Yes.
Liked by many, right? Sports. Okay. Study. Yes. Terrible. Okay. Those are pretty easy words this week, aren't they? What we'll do is we'll break up and we'll do our jigsaw for our vocabulary words, okay? Okay, Raiden, you're 1. Joshua, 2. Jordan, 3. Valeria, 4. Okay? Adrian, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? 1s are in the library. 2's in the closet. 3's back there, and 4's up here. Nice you are, aren't you? Go to your spot, and I'll give you your words. Let's go from the bottom up today. Okay, 1s. You have terrible. Did you hear me? Terrible. Study. Sports. And popular. Okay? Go. What's your word? Is very popular. Why? Everybody likes them, right? Okay. Use another sentence. Think of another sentence that is popular. You're not sure? What about you, Sid? You don't know?
Great. What are you guys doing? You're supposed to face each other.
What about basketball? Is very popular. Do you think basketball is popular? Good. Good.
Sports
Is that
are
it?
games that you can
Okay.
play
Sit down.
inside or outside.
Sorry, Lambert. About to put you out, didn't I?
Many boys, yes, please.
Thank you.
Okay. So we'll go Raiden, Joshua, Jordan, and Valeria back there. Because that'll give you 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then Adrian, Christopher, Charlie,
Can you go back and do it again with all of that?
and Lambert in the closet. You're 1. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. You guys back there. And the rest over here. Remember your word.
Okay, boys and girls, when I look around, Mrs. Betts and I want to see you standing in a circle and you are facing each other. Okay? You owe me $1 and you owe Mrs. Betts $1 if I look up or she looks up or Mr. Shipley looks up and sees you spacing off or not doing what you're supposed to be doing. All right? Okay.
Terrible means like you're terrible at something and you can't make it any better. Sports
Study means like
are something that you can play inside or outside. Study means like you take your work home and study and test your next day. Basketball is a game. basketball is in
Are you done? Okay. Who wants to use basketball in a sentence for me? Aaron.
Basketball is a game.
What about disease? Jordan?
My sister had a disease.
Freeze.
I like to play freeze.
There you go. Guard. Joshua.
I guarded my dog.
Popular. Christopher.
I'm very popular.
You think?
No.
Sports. Charles.
Sports are things that you play inside.
Study. Diego.
I study stuff.
You study stuff?
I
What kind of stuff? Like, do you study your spelling words?
No.
You should be. Terrible.
I don't have any.
Today? Terrible.
There's something terrible.
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
There's something terrible.
Okay. Look at these words up here. What can you tell me about them?
They
Raise your hand. Christopher.
like one means like Anderson and like on the blackboard it means like four
Right. What is another word for those? Singular, right? And plural. What's the difference though? Like, okay. What did they do to this word?
we added R
To make it what word? Children, which means
more.
more than one, right? What about this?
Woman. Changed the A.
Women. Okay. What about this one? What did they do to this one?
They changed the F to the F to a V and then added an S.
Did they do the same thing here?
Yes.
What's another word you can think of that you change the F to the V?
Knife.
Knife to knives. What about leaf?
Leaves.
To leaves.
Ball.
Okay, what's the last word? Goose to geese.
They just changed the two words.
Okay. What's another word that changes completely when you change it from singular to plural? Not just adding an S. Because that makes it more than one, doesn't it? What's another way that you can, what's
Play-
another word
play.
that changes completely?
Play.
What about
Play.
mouse?
Yeah.
What is, turns to mice, right? That's what we're going to be talking about. Get your reading books out, or your reading books.
Good.
And 22 and 23. What? Zeke, come on. 22 and 23.
Whoa.
Your book. Diego, your book. Your book. 22 and 23.
Wow.
That's not right.
23. No, 22.
Yeah, that's not right.
Just the numbers 22 and 23.
Yeah, but it should be irregular plurals, not
Yeah, not in the
Short not the.
It's not in it. It's like I can read short vowels.
That's
It's in there. I think it's 122. I think I know where it is.
where's that?
122.
Did you find it? There. No, I know, but this isn't the right.
122 probably. Is it 200? Where's 400?
No, it says 22 and 23. Yeah, exactly. I know.
First, I get it. I've never even seen basketball stories. There's no basketball story.
What are you looking for?
Well, it says page 22 and 23, but it's not right.
That's looks like it's down.
Oh, you know why? I know why. I bet you. Oh my goodness, how many pencils do you have?
Diego, I need to get a drink. Do you want a drink? You need different books, okay.
I think I'm 200. No. How do you look there?
Okay, 5.
Listen,
This is what you're going to do. Will you please go get a drink? I would like for you to take the books that you have right now. We need to switch textbooks. It'll only take a second if you cooperate. Okay? I want you to take the book that you have right this second, and I want you to pass it to the person next to you. So they all head down this way. Do that without talking. And the person at the very end here on these rows, I want you to tell me how many books you're going to need for your row so I can get them out. So Sydney, how many books do you need? 4. Okay, I'm going to exchange 4 for 4. Take one and pass it down. Make sure you have your papers taken out of the books. That's crazy.
Do you want me to switch Ronnie's?
Yes, please.
pass it down. Sit down, you two.
Okay, that's fine. Then yours. Okay,
I don't know where did you pass it?
that's all right. I'll just look through it.
It'll be
Fine.
fine.
No big deal. Not the end of the world. How many do we need here?
5.
5. There's 4. There you are.
Hey. Jump on floor.
Okay. There you are, ma'am. Okay, last row. How many? 4. Now you can turn to page 22 real easily.
How about
Now we'll have it, right?
How about Low? He doesn't do reading.
Did you find it? 22?
There you are.
It's
Okay, guys, just up here.
Whoa. We just need a rat.
Hey, 22.
22.
We need these.
That's fine.
So those words you see there, those are what we're talking about, correct? Are those singular or plural? Plural, which means
Wood.
What about them?
Josh, were you there yet?
That's okay.
22? What? More than one. All the boys, read the first 2 words.
Nice woman. Women.
Girls, read the next 3.
Eat children fish.
Okay. This front row, read that first sentence.
We use knives to slice the bread.
This one. The second.
The women fed crumbs to the flocks of geese.
Good. That row.
How many fish did the children catch?
Let's read. I can read all together. Okay? Ready? A family of mice lived in a hole under the porch next door. For their entire lives, these mice had been afraid of men and women. One day, they peeked out and saw several pairs of large feet near the entrance of their home. Their teeth began to chatter from fear. A voice said, "Do not fear, little mice. We are the wives who live nearby. baked extra loaves of bread today and brought some to share with you and the sheep and deer who roam in the field. Who can pick out some of the irregular plurals in there? Charles, give me one.
What are they doing?
Picking out the irregular plural verbs or words. What? Do you remember what we were talking about with the difference?
Mrs. Betts, may I step in for just a minute?
Go ahead.
Because I think we have a lot of sleepers today.
Yes, everyone's
I
very
think
tired.
this is what we'll do, and I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're fine.
I think this is what we're going to do. I want you to get your pencil out. Because I would hate for everybody to sit and sleep and only a couple of kids answer. So I want you to get your pencil out and very lightly, I want you to go through each of you and find the irregular verbs, and I want you to very lightly underline them. And then we're gonna get you up out of your seats and we're gonna talk about them and make sure that we have found them all with our books, okay? So you're gonna have about 1 minute to do that, so take care of that first. That way nobody's sleeping. That is the dumbest joke I've ever heard in my life. What do you call an aardvark with 3 feet? A yardvark. Yard. An aardvark.
How do you say
call it with 3 feet? A yardvark. That's dumb. How'd we do? Are we done?
Yeah.
Great, let's get up. Come on, we're not sleeping. Get up. Get up, get up, get up. If I had to get up this morning and I did not want to, you are certainly not going to sit and sleep. That ain't happening. All right. Joshua. Joshua, I want you to very quickly pick 3 kids to be in your group. Quick, 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 quick. Or I'm going to pick 4 you and they'll all be girls. Okay, who? Diego, Aaron, and who?
Christopher.
Okay, get your books, go back to the library, whatever it is back there, library. You, sir, back here, snake handler, pick 3 kids to be in your group, quick.
Do you understand?
Quick, or I'll pick them.
Riley.
Okay, Riley, Charlie, Adrian, go back here to the science area with your books. You, sir, pick 3 kids, quick, 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 quick. I'm gonna pick for you. Okay, back in the corner, back here in the coat closet, let's go, you, sir. 3 kids. How many do we have left? Great, that worked out perfect, right up here. Wonderful, look at you, it's Tyler's Angels instead of Charlie's Angels. This works out. Okay, I want you to talk about the words that you found.
Which ones did you find?
Fine.
Oh, right here.
Nice women and
Which one?
mice.
Okay, now, while you're in your groups, talk about what the singular part of it would be. If you found the word loaves, what would the singular part be? Loaf. Okay?
What was another one?
Mice would be
Okay, mice.
Mouse.
Mouse.
It's the
Okay.
singular,
Men.
or
Mice.
right?
Mouses.
Okay.
Bake.
Next one you found.
Here.
Men.
No.
What's the singular form of men?
Which
What
one?
about woman?
Wives would be what? Wife, okay.
Wives would be
Aaron?
wife.
Pete? No.
Singular.
Would be
What
woman.
is the singular? What do they do? All they do is change one letter.
Because if you did
Woman,
Pete, that would
woman,
just have
woman.
passed
They
it
put an A, right?
See what I mean?
Put an A, right?
So what would be
What's the next one that you found?
this wives,
Nothing. So
Well,
right? I
what's
can't
the
remember
singular
reading
form of
it, the
players?
entire lives, yeah. lives.
Teeth.
All lives. Right. We want to move
Just one of them.
I'm going to save your
Tooth.
What did you say? I had one feet.
Teeth would be two.
What did you say?
You'd be two.
One foot.
Okay. All right, now listen.
You know,
This is
sheep
what
in
you're going to
here.
do next. In your group, you're going to pick one word between all of you. So if this is your group and you pick the word lives, what is one live? If you have more than one, if it's lives, if you only have one, it is life. You're going to come up with two sentences using the singular form of that verb life. Oh my goodness, Mrs. Beth, you saved my... Then you're going to come up with the plural form or the irregular form. Oh my goodness sakes. I know that coffee saves many children's lives. Okay, do you see? You're going to come up with two sentences using both forms. You have 2 minutes to do that. Go.
Okay.
Okay, what are you going to do? Oh, you cannot use that one. I just gave it to you. Laziness. Okay, what's that?
I'm so hungry I could eat 3 loaves of bread.
I bake one loaf.
Give me some using
I
singular.
Two loaves of bread.
Here we go.
I'm so hungry. I could eat 9.
Yep, just one.
Okay. All right. When you are done, have a seat. Don't talk.
Still tired.
Good. Do you understand? Getting it? Okay. Make sure you know your sentence.
Okay, okay, come on. Come on, I want to hear a story. Okay. Okay. Okay, great. All right, who are my captains of the deal here? I know I called Guzman. Okay, Guzman, I want you to pick one kid from your group. Everybody in Guzman's group, stand up. Everyone in Guzman's group. That's hard to say, Guzman's group. Say that 3 times fast. Guzman's group. Okay, I can't either. All right, 3, pick one kid out of your group, quick. Christopher. Okay, give us one of your sentences, quickly.
I went to the bakery for my loaf of bread.
You did what?
I went to the bakery for my loaf of bread.
For my loaf of bread. Everyone, is that singular or plural? Singular, good. Okay, Guzman, pick another kid.
I love women.
Great! I love women. Is that singular or plural?
Singular.
Nah, women.
Plural.
Very good. High five on that deal. All right, sit down. Next group up. I like the way you think. Next group, you, snake handler. Everyone's group, let's go. Up. Who is it? 1, 2, 3. Do we have another one?
Adrian.
Okay, thank you. All right, snake handler, let's go.
Harley. I'm so hungry I could eat 3 loaves of bread.
Oh, very good. All right, good job. Next, pick another one.
Their teeth are good for the bread.
The what?
Their teeth are good for the bread.
Their teeth are good for the bread.
Wait, do you their bread is good for the teeth. Their teeth.
Okay, you're talking about teeth or tooth, right? Okay, very, very good. Okay.
We have to have Adrian say something.
Here's a funny.
All right, well, let me hear it. Let's hear it. I hear you have a good one.
I don't have a good one.
Huh?
I don't have a good one.
Yeah, you do.
Come on, don't be bashful.
Say it. Someone's. My teeth keep on chattering.
My teeth keep on chattering. Okay, very good. All right. Did you ever hear that joke about the redneck with the teeth.
Oh yeah.
What, something about the toothbrush or something?
Yeah.
Because right next to it we have one teeth, what?
1, 2.
Yeah, I have to remember that. I can't remember the whole joke. Okay, next, who else? What other group do we have? Lampert. Kids in Lampert's group. Up, 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 up. Okay, here we go. Lampert, pick somebody in your group.
Chirpy has webbed feet.
Okay, Chirpy has webbed feet. Is that singular or plural? Feet.
Plural.
Plural. If it's more than one, it is feet, right? Okay, good. What's another one? Lampert?
There's a family of mice living in my house.
There was a family of mice living in my house. Is that singular or plural? It's plural. What would one be?
This is right.
Mouse. Yes.
Did you happen to get a note or a reason as to why Veronica is gone today?
I got nothing.
So you don't know anything?
I do know things, but not pertaining to Veronica, no.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next. One more. Oh, we already got two, right? Okay, very good. Sit down. Okay, Zeke's group. Everyone stand up. Up, up, up. Okay, Zeke, pick.
The goose stole my loaf of bread.
Okay, is that one or more than one? For loaf.
Singular.
Singular, very good. I like that you said singular. Okay, and next one. Yes?
The pack rat stole the loaf of bread.
Okay, the pack rat stole the loaf of bread. Again, is that singular or plural?
Singular.
It's singular. How can we make it plural then?
Loaf.
Loaves. All right, the pack rat stole my loaves of bread. Now we've got more than one. Okay? Do you understand? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Sit down and I will give it back to Mrs. Betts.
Do you want them to
That way.
do like we did a couple weeks ago, was tear the whole thing out for their story?
Yes, and you know what else I found, Mrs. Betts? And I just took me a lot of time to figure this out, but I have learning stations in these little flip charts back here, and they are about 15 minutes long. So during planning time today, I will show you that because we can use those as groups, and it practices. It'll be very fun, and it requires all of us to break up into groups. So we'll have centers in here,
Yeah, I like
and
Good
that'll
idea.
be good, and it'll get you up, and yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Won't make me jump. Maybe.
Okay, so I want you to get out your reading workbooks for me right now.
What page is it, Diego? 247.
What were they doing after they get this done, Mrs. Betts? I have another idea too. We're gonna do.
I wanted to get into
Well,
the
we have to
story.
do two.
Yeah.
more.
Break them
Good,
into
good, good.
different groups.
Okay, so I have this idea too that I forgot about that I saw in one of my books I was reading. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna have you get your workbook out. We're gonna have you get those pages tore out when we tell you here in just a second. And keep your reading book out because we're gonna need that deal. You're gonna need a reading book and a pencil because we're gonna take a little walk through our book before we even start reading that story, okay? So I want you to open up your reading workbook. And what pages do they start on?
247.
Okay, you're going to go to page 247. And you're going to go all the way through until you get to...
257.
Yeah, you know what though? Let's not pull that one
That'll
because...
get the other story.
Yeah, and that R-controlled vowel one is pretty important. So we're going to go through. Listen, so you don't pull out too many. You're going to pull out 247 all the way to 256, okay? 247 to 256. Pull those out. You can grab them all in one shot and pull them. That's the best way,
Straight up, they tear it easier.
okay?
247, 241.
247 to 256. When you get those out, I'll staple them and you get your name on them right away.
I didn't go like that. I didn't go like that.
Yeah, and see how it look. Right, watch. Then you'll be able to tear it just without ripping your ripping the pages.
Maybe it's free
Okay, hold them up. I'll come by and staple them, or Mrs. Betts will, and you may put your reading workbook away. Put this inside of your homework folder until we're ready to move on with it.
Yesterday me and my brother went fishing.
Ooh.
Girlfriend called Brady and Preston with me. And Brady didn't catch anything because he was out there a couple of mornings. And he was like, go ahead, go fishing. And his girlfriend said that you're not going to catch, the Preston said, you're not going to catch anything. And I'll just, I will just catch all of them. And I caught one, and then the other two didn't catch any yet. And then Brady said, that's the last one in the pond. And then I caught another one.
Oh my gosh.
That's the last one in the pond. And then I caught another one, and then I caught another one, and then I caught another one.
And Brady Stoppel was telling you that was the last one and you just kept on catching them?
Yeah.
That's funny. Good for you. I bet he was feeling kind of silly, wasn't he? Okay. What I want you to do, we're going to have you start reading the story, but before we do that, I want you to turn to the story first of all. We're going to do what is called a story walk. I've not done this with you before, but this is a very good thing to do.
Basketball.
You're going to go to page. Okay, first of all, what I want you to do is look at page 26 for a minute. 26 talks about unfamiliar words. What does un mean? Not. So if something is unfamiliar, it is not familiar, right? Do you need a staple, Joshua? Okay. Okay, if you're familiar with something, that means you know what it is. You've seen it before, right? Okay, so unfamiliar means that you haven't seen that before, correct? Okay, put that away. And I don't want to see it out again or it's mine. Unfamiliar words. It is important that you build your vocabulary up. You know, there's a reason why we do that vocabulary jigsaw thing with you. And it's not just to give you busy work and give us time to drink coffee, okay? Vocabulary is very important because if you don't have a lot of vocabulary, kids are supposed to add, I can't even remember what it is, but it is something crazy, like 30-some words a week in their vocabulary that you're supposed to be adding. And some of that you get through school with us teaching it, like your amazing words, your vocabulary words. And a lot of it comes just from strictly just reading. So if you're not spending your own time, those 30 minutes a day reading, then you're never going to get those vocabulary words. And guess what happens to you? When you get older, just a little bit older, and a little bit older, and a little bit older, the reading is going to get harder and harder and harder for you. And then you're going to tell yourself, I hate reading. I'm no good at it. And that is a huge bad thing to do. Because nobody wants to say they hate reading or I'm not good at it. Because when you start thinking that way, then you're just going to take away any kind of fun out of your life imaginable. Because you need reading for everything, don't you? I mean, everything you need it for. Okay? So when you come to an unfamiliar word, we've been talking about that, about how you can use context clues and different ways to try and figure those words out, right? One of the first steps is just figuring out that you have a word you don't know, okay? This is why I like reading on the Nook and on the Kindle. Those things are fantastic. Everybody look at your neighbor and say, reading on the Nook is fantastic. Look at your other neighbor and say, if you haven't tried it, you should. When you are reading on the Nook or your iPad or your Kindle or whatever it is, and you come to a word that you don't know, technology has made that so easy for you because all you have to do is push on the word and voila, the definition comes up. So do you think that's an easy way to learn some new vocabulary words? Yes. If you have a Nook or a Kindle at home or an iPad, you can put the Kindle app on, or if you have an iPhone or if you have an iPod, you can put a Kindle app on that. Or a Nook app, and you can read books straight on that deal. And if you say, oh, well, my parents won't buy me books, guess what? There's free ones. Okay? Building that vocabulary is so important. Now, how this relates to you. Later on, we're going to talk about unfamiliar words some more, and you have some workbook pages for this. This is nothing new, is it? We've been doing this quite often, haven't we? Right? What is one way that we can figure out an unfamiliar word's meaning? What is one way we can do that? Yes?
Look for context clues around it.
Right. Look for the clues around it. If I said, the cute fluff was curled up in the box. Do you know what the fluff is?
No.
Okay, but what do you know about the fluff?
Cute.
It's cute, and what else?
Furry.
It's probably furry, and what else?
It's in the box.
It's what in the box?
Curled up.
It's curled up in the box. Now, use some background experience. Use your own background knowledge. What do you know is cute and furry and cuddles up in a box?
Cat.
Probably a cat.
Bunny.
Or a bunny.
Or pet.
Okay, but probably your mind went to what first?
Cat.
A cat. Okay, well, you're right. Because that's what I had in mind when I said fluff. I didn't have to tell you that fluff was a cat. You used the context clues that I gave you, and you also used your own knowledge, your own experiences. Okay? That is going to help you. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to go to your story. Okay? We are going to look at it. So let's turn the page. Okay? First of all, our genre. It's a biography. What does that mean? What?
Someone else wrote it.
Yes, somebody else wrote it, but it is true about that person, right? I have a biography at home that I am reading, and it is about JFK, about a president, John F. Kennedy. All right, so that is a biography. Somebody else wrote the book, and I'm reading it, but it's a true story about him. If John Kennedy wrote the book himself, it would be an autobiography, right? If Joshua wanted to write a book about himself, Joshua the Great. Would that be an autobiography or a biography? If Joshua wanted to write the book about himself, it's an autobiography, right?
Yeah.
Now, if Mrs. Riedel wanted to write a book about Joshua, and she called it Joshua the Great, would that be an autobiography or a biography? Biography, because Mrs. Riedel wrote it, correct? Okay? All right, so we know that this book is going to be a biography because it told you so, okay? Now, your question says, how do talents make someone unique? That's the question that you're going to be trying to answer as we read this. Turn the page. Okay? What I want you to do, we're taking what's called a picture walk or a book walk through this. Look at this. Do they give you some graphic sources right away in the book?
Yes.
Yes. Do you see this graphic source? What is this? It's a map. The author put that in there to help you understand the story better. Whenever you have things like this and these pictures, spend time looking at them. The author put those in there to help you. Okay? They could have just filled the whole page with words, but they wanted you to get a better understanding. That's why they did this. Okay? Turn the page. Do you have some more graphic resources or graphic sources? Sure you do. These pictures right here, right? Do you have a headline? Yeah, that's a text feature that we've talked about. Headlines help you, don't they? They help organize the information, right? So we're going to be reading about something called the dropout. What do you know about a dropout?
Like you drop out. Like if you drop out of something?
Okay, drop out of what?
School.
Okay.
Should be fun.
And we know that this story is about basketball, so do you think somebody dropped out of maybe high school or something, or college? Could be. Turn the page. Hey, look. What do we have here? We have some books and a football, and we just read about somebody dropping out. Dropping out of what?
Football.
Probably school of some sort, right? Or football. Then we have another picture over here that they gave you some information, right? Turn the page. Inventing fun, that's your headline. Do you see that? That's going to help you, so you might think, inventing fun, I wonder what that's about. I wonder what they invented. Well, what's the story about?
Basketball.
So what do you suppose they're inventing here?
Basketball.
Okay, do you see? You're already coming up with ideas about what this is about. And by doing this, by walking through the story before you actually read it, you're giving yourself a purpose to keep reading this story. Okay, let's turn the page. Oh, by the way, before we do, the author did some what here with the vocabulary words? What did he do for you? He highlighted them. He wants you to pay attention to them. Turn the page. Do we have some more graphic sources here? Yes, we do, in the form of a picture and then a diagram. Right?
The basketball has like a football.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it was when they didn't know. He just created.
Oh, hey, yeah, and that's a good thing to point out because we were just looking at football a couple of pages over and now it's basketball. Get out your question finger. I wonder exactly what we're inventing here. Okay, turn it again. We've got some rules here, it says. Oh, and a timeline. Is that an important text feature? Yes, absolutely. They put that in there to help you understand the story. And then, of course, we have think critically. Those are questions. Now, go back to the beginning. Go back to the beginning of your story, and I told you to have that pencil out. You know, there's not a lot of teachers that will let you write in the book, and I'm one of those that says it's okay. But we're not going to press really hard, right? We're going to very lightly, and please don't flip the pages really hard because when you do that, you crinkle them up. Okay, we want to take care of these books. I'm sitting here telling you to write in them, but then I'm telling you not to crinkle them. It doesn't make sense, I know. This is what I want you to do with your pencil, really super lightly. I want you to read, and not really read, but I want you to kind of go through and skim. You know what skim means?
Yeah.
You're not going to sit there and read every single word. What you're going to do is you're just kind of going to take your finger and you're just going to kind of skim through like this. And if you see some words that you don't know, like, oh, maybe I don't know this word. Maybe I'm not sure what that word means or I can't sound it out. I'm going to underline it really lightly with my pencil. And those are words that I know I need to either look up or I need to get some help with. Okay? So we're going to spend just a few minutes doing that. I want you to quietly on your own go through and come up with some words that you don't know, and then we're going to make our word wall for this story. Okay? So do that now. Just skim. You don't need to read every single word. Just kind of skim through.
What if it's a name?
Okay, the name doesn't count. If it's a name, is it Naismith that you're coming across? Yeah, that's Naismith. James Naismith.
Maybe a snake?
Yeah, it's like
If it's a stage or a name of a city or something like that, don't worry about that. What I'm really looking for is vocabulary words or words that you don't know. Okay? Like this one. Do you know what this is? Do you have any idea what that is, though? Okay, so underline that. Okay? Riley just came across the word blacksmith. He can sound it out and he knows that it's a compound word, blacksmith, but he has no idea what that means. So if he doesn't know what that means, can he use that word in his own vocabulary? Will he be able to use that word? Probably not, because he doesn't know what it means. That's not going to do him any good, so he's going to underline that deal. We'll just do page 30 and 31 for right now. Do you know what this one is? Do you know what that is? get those 2 pages done? Okay, so let's go now to the very beginning. Okay, on page 28. The man who invented basketball. James Naismith and his Amazing Game by Edwin Britt Wyckoff. Now, just by reading that, it says the man who invented basketball, James Naismith and his Amazing Game. Who invented basketball? James Naismith. Did the author flat out tell us that he invented basketball?
Yes.
Kinda, he did, didn't he? He didn't say James Naismith invented basketball, but he said the man who invented basketball, and then he put James Naismith in his Amazing Game. So we know that James Naismith invented basketball. By the way, he's from Kansas, just so you know.
Yeah, I don't
Okay?
know where he lives.
Question of the week. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped. A biography is a story of a person's life written by another person. We've talked about that, right? As you read, think about why someone would write about James Naismith. Well, duh, that's a no-brainer. Wouldn't you want to write about him?
Yeah.
And he's from Kansas. That's even cooler, you know. Question of the week. How do talents make someone unique? Well, what does unique mean?
Special.
Special?
Rare.
Different? Are you
Rare.
all unique?
There.
Rare. I like that, Josh. Right, we all have unique talents and gifts, don't we? Okay, turn the page. Tough love and a tough life. Now let's use that heading to ask a question. How can we turn tough love and a tough life into a question?
What is tough love and tough life?
Sure. What is tough love and a tough life? We're going to find out what that is, okay? Let's see. Riley, why don't you read that first paragraph? Now, as we read, if there are any words that you didn't know, as soon as we get done with that paragraph, I want you to raise your hand, okay? This is the time. If you find a word in there that you don't know, raise your hand. Okay, Riley?
Winter in Canada can be very hard. Icy wind sweeps down from the north. Rivers freeze solid. Crossing them could be scary and dangerous.
Okay, are we good so far? Okay, very good. Tanner, will you please read?
James Naismith turned 11 in 1872. He also was old enough to know where the river near his home became safe, solid ice. But he took a shortcut he had never tried before. His team of horses pulled his wagon onto the frozen river.
Okay, stop. Everybody put your hand over that. What did we just read? Sydney?
He's taking a shortcut
Okay, he's taking a shortcut where?
across
Across what kind of a river? An icy one? Okay, and what's he doing? He's taking a shortcut by himself or what? With his horses. Okay, now make a prediction. What do you think's going to happen? Do you think the horses are going to fall in?
Yeah.
You think so?
No,
Yeah.
probably not because
They're gonna fall and then he's gonna have to pull them out.
no, he said that the team of horses pulled the wagon across.
Okay, well don't.
The horses were on the other side of it.
Okay, well try not to keep reading. But what I want you to do is stop when you get to an exciting part like that in the story. Like, what, is this guy crazy? Here's this frozen river, and he is going to take this team of horses and a wagon across it. Doesn't that sound a little nuts?
No, it sounds awesome.
Well, it sounds nuts. That's heavy. Is this guy Alpha's
It's like
rocker?
crossing the lake.
Okay, right. So you need to stop and think to yourself, what in the world's going to happen, right? Let's see if we make some predictions if they came true. All right, let's see. So we left off with his team of horses pulled the wagon onto the frozen river. Gracie, keep reading.
Their feet pounded the ice. Then one heavy hoof slammed through the sheet of ice. James jumped off the wagon and landed in the water. Grabbing the horses by their manes, he pulled hard. Slowly, he forced them to the other side of the river.
Wow. Do you think he's a brave guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. A little crazy.
Feels
Okay, Aaron, why don't you read?
James looked around. He saw his uncle
Peter.
Young, watching him from behind some trees, but his uncle had not helped him. Uncle Peter wanted James to learn to solve problems by himself and not to take
Foolish.
chances. It was a tall lesson.
Okay, so it was a tough lesson. Now, what was a tough lesson? Who can tell me what that paragraph was all about that we just read? Valeria?
His uncle Peter wanted James to solve problems by himself.
Okay, and why do you suppose he wanted him to do that? Did he just not care about him? Valeria? Did he just not care about him? Well, why do you suppose that his uncle would make him want to find things out for himself? Oh, I love that answer. Yes. Because he's not going to be there all the time. Why do you think your parents are so hard on you?
Oh, because they're tired.
Tanner, go clean your room. Tanner, do this. Tanner, do that. Tanner, stop. Tanner, don't do this. Tanner, this. Pay attention in school. Do this. Do that. Right? Because your parents aren't going to be there forever, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to be my age and have your parents right next to you teaching you how to do stuff still, do you? I mean, that would be creepy, right? Okay, so this uncle of his cared for him so much, right? Now, do we have any words on that page that we did not know? Are we good? Yes? What? I couldn't hear you. Tough. I heard somebody else mispronounce that too, so we'll write that one down. Okay, could you spell it for me?
H-O-F.
He said hoof.
Oh, hoof. I'm sorry. Oh, and that's an irregular verb too, or irregular word. Hoof. Spell hoof.
H-O-F.
H-O-O-F. And by the way, this falls right into our lesson that Mrs. Betts gave today. It's one hoof or more than one would be hooves. Okay, so that's like this. Okay? Hoof. All right. Now, what is a hoof? Aaron?
The horse's foot.
It's a horse's foot. Okay. Good. All right, let's keep going. Next page. Now, we've got some graphic sources here, so let's look at that. That graphic source is our map. It's a map of Canada, and will you read that for me, Diego?
James was born.
Nope. On the graphic source in the red.
James grew up near Almont, Ontario, in Canada.
Okay, Almont, I think. I don't know how you pronounce that. Ontario. In Canada, he grew up, okay? All right, so let's keep reading then. Why don't you just go ahead, Diego?
James was born on November 6, 1861, near Almont, Ontario, which is in Canada. When he was almost 9, his father, John Naismith, came down with deadly typhoid fever, so they would not catch the disease. James, his sister, Annie, and brother Robbie were taken to their grandmother's home. A few days later, their father died. 2 weeks later, their mother, Margaret, died of the same disease. A short time later, their grandmother Annie died of old age.
Oh my goodness. So think about that. How many of you in here are 9? Yeah. 9 years old, and they get this disease called what?
Typhoid.
Typhoid. Spell that for me because I think it deserves to go up here. How do you spell that?
Typhoid.
Okay, typhoid.
Oh, they didn't get.
That's a word you didn't get? I figured. That's why we should put it up here. I saw some other kids had it underlined, so that's okay. Typhoid. You know, back in the day, boys and girls, they did not have the medicine and the research that they have now. The scientists didn't have as much research and knowledge about different medicines and diseases. And you know, a lot of times what they would do, if you got sick, they would cut you and bleed you. They thought that if they just drained your blood out of your body, that blood was bad blood, and so they would just drain you of your blood.
It is when you're sick.
But guess what happens?
You bleed it.
Well, yeah, you bleed it up because when they were draining out the bad blood, they were draining out good blood too.
Yeah.
The blood cells in there fight. That's what, like when you get cancer or something, they're fighting each other. So, but they didn't know any better, so they just bled people to death back then. So now think about it, typhoid. They have no idea, even still, back then in the day, they didn't understand really about germs. They didn't get that when you were like, oh, nice to meet you, Diego. They didn't get that that's how germs were spread. They didn't understand that. And so here they have this man, is it the man first that gets typhoid?
Yep.
The father, John, he gets typhoid, and what happens to him?
He died.
He dies. What happens to mom?
Typhoid.
She dies of the same thing. And then what happens to poor grandma?
Oh
My gosh. Now, if you were 9 years old and you had your mother die, your father die, you get shipped clear across the country to go live with poor grandma,
She died.
and then she dies. How do you think you feel? Huh?
That's my mail delivery.
Oh, good morning.
Good
How are
morning.
you?
Good.
Did you tell Miss Borland good morning?
Good
morning.
Good morning.
You look pretty.
Hey, how many children are there?
18.
I think I did okay. Okay. If somebody didn't get a letter, let me know.
Oh, you're amazing. That was nice of you.
Well, they deserve it. They wrote me nice letters.
Oh.
Is Roddy here?
No, she's not here
Oh, hers
today.
was the best.
Yeah, you told me about that. That was funny.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Okay, so how would you feel if your parents died and then your grandma that you were sent to live with died?
Bad.
Yeah. And just because this happened 100 some years ago, it doesn't change the kids' feelings. Kids are still kids. How horrible would that be, right? So let's see what happens next. My goodness. Do you think he just said, forget it, I'm done living, this is it?
No.
No. Let's figure out what happens. Christopher, why don't you read?
That left Uncle Peter to take care of the children in many corners near
Okay, now Benny's Corners, does that mean there's some guy named Benny and he has a corner?
No.
No, that's the name of the place, right? It's a city. Benny's Corners, okay? Keep reading.
The village has a schoolhouse, a blacksmith shop, a store, and lots of other kids to play with.
Okay, this one is Margaret. That's a lady's name. Like my friend Margaret in Texas? That's her name. Okay, very good. Now, was there any word in there that we didn't know?
Blacksmith.
Blacksmith. That was one that we could figure out. We could sound it out, but we really don't know anything about it, right?
I do.
Okay, but not everybody does. So we're going to write this down because these are things we need to look up. Okay, let's keep going.
Harry,
Sure.
the children had lots of fun with very little money. When James needed ice skates, he made them. Then he raced out into the frozen swimming hole like a champion.
You're right.
Champion skater.
Yeah, good. Okay, now wait a minute now before we turn. We have that little blue box and it says, let's think about. How would you describe the early part of James Naismith's life or childhood? Use information from the text and maintain a logical order. Okay, so that's what I want you to do. Those groups that you had earlier, that you got up and you were talking about your singular and plural, or irregular and regular verbs and words. I can't even talk today. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I want you to get your books, and we're going to do a little miniature literature circle real quick. I want you to get your books, and I want you to talk about how you think the beginning of his childhood went, how you would feel in that situation, and just talk about it. I just want you to talk about this with your peers, okay? Discuss. This is what grown-ups do when they have literature circles or when they have book clubs. They read a chapter in a book, and then they get together and they talk about it. It makes the story a little bit more interesting, and you understand it better. Okay, break up in your groups very quickly. Now, when you're in your group, after you talk about that, I want you to read the next 2 pages together in your groups. If you come to any words that you don't know, you're going to underline them again. And then we're going to get back together and we're going to talk about the next 2 pages.
Charlie.
Do you remember where you were?
No.
Okay, you can just come over here. We'll just
Charlie
never
Riley.
reveal.
Adrian Riley.
Adrian, you can come over here in this group. There you go. Good. Okay, if you don't know, I'm going to tell you again. Please listen. First of all, you're going to discuss. I would sit down. You're going to discuss with your group in a circle so that you can hear each other and see each other. You're going to talk about what James Naismith's early life was like. And how would it make you feel? Sit down and sit in a circle like I asked. You're going to talk about that. Like, empathize with him. What do you think it would be like to be James Naismith at that age? How did his life go? What happened? Okay, just a minute. You're going to talk about it first. I want you just talking about it. Like, how would that make you feel? How can this relate to you? Then, this is the next part. Listen carefully. Eyes on me. Then you're going to turn the page. And you're going to read in a group the next 2 pages. If you come to words that you don't know, I want you to real lightly underline them. And then we're going to get together and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to talk about it and you're going to give me the words that you didn't know. Okay? Understand? Okay, begin.
What would be sad?
Okay.
Grandma and your mom.
Yeah, really scary.
Yeah, but look what I like.
No, he has one.
Yeah. It would be, so you would be sad and upset, wouldn't you?
I'd be
So did the grandma die of the same thing as the dad and the mom? Did they all have typhoid? What happened to his grandma?
old age.
She died of just old age, huh? Okay, so then who was the person that took care of her?
Look at my grandma.
His uncle, what was his name?
Peter.
Peter. Okay, okay. Turn the page and you guys can read the next 2 pages together and underline words you don't know.
I go first and
Remember?
Yeah, this. Okay. I'm like the oldest.
How old are you?
No,
When's your birthday?
oh, you're the oldest. No, I'm. No, oh, you're. Yeah,
How
but
old?
you're 8. I'm 8.
Yeah, but I'm oldest.
Yeah?
You're 8. I'm the second oldest.
How do you think you feel?
The best.
You can go ahead and read together the next 2 pages and then underline words you don't know.
When's your birthday?
You may be able to pronounce them if you find out what they mean. Right?
August, September 4th.
First, second, third, fourth.
So
So first,
read it
1, 2,
together.
3, 4.
I don't know if you want to turn this out inside, and then you're going to discuss it, so you better read it.
One player, the third player, the guard would put a rock about the size of his
Have you
first
heard of that?
thumb.
I have not either. I guess you think you're going to tell us what it is.
Hey, wait, I don't know. I
stopped at Shopify. Blacksmith shop. There's some that to not get the big rock. If they missed, they had to pick up their stone before the guard could tag them. It sounds easy, but it is not. The pitch is soft and has perfectly aimed. When a player missed the duck, there was a lot of shouting and laughing. James would remember duck on a rock and it could be very important. Where are you? Adrian. The drop. James was great at sports. James was great at sports. He also worked hard on
It doesn't sound like a very fun game, does it? Hey, well, look at that picture. What does that say? James and his friends use this big rock to play their favorite game, duck, on a rock. Right? So they didn't use a real duck, did they? Did they put a real duck on that rock and try to get off of it? No, they didn't. Yeah. Okay. What's next? Duck on a rock. In 1887, James graduated from McGill University after studying Hebrew and philosophy. Hebrew is an ancient language that many ministers study. Philosophy teaches people to think about life. James had a lot to say. Did you find any words in there that you didn't know what they meant?
Is it like a witch?
I knew what philosophy was.
It's like a witch because everyone who plays with and stays with dies.
What do you think about the game?
It's weird.
Duck on a rock.
It's awesome.
Do you really think it would be? Do you think it would be fun to play duck on a rock?
No.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Dodgeball would.
I don't think that would be fun.
That would be
It doesn't
fun.
even sound fun to me.
It sounds insane because you have to throw it and then it's hard. It's challenging. You have to run. You have to be fast.
Can you, if you close your eyes, can you see how you play it? Can you visualize?
Yeah,
how
I
you
can
play
visualize
it?
it's like a rock.
Duck on a rock?
It's at the size of your hitting people with a ball. That's a rock. Oh yeah. You call it dodge rock.
How do you think James Naismith will use this game that he used to love to play later on in his life?
Yes.
How?
He would grab a rock.
Because you have to throw it. You have to.
They throw it at people.
When you like make a basket, you have to get it right on.
Okay.
And on this, you have to get it right on.
What did this help you? What was the heading? The dropout. Did that help you think what was going to be coming up next?
I didn't get it. I didn't get it.
Well, look, the dropout, he was 15 when he left school and worked as a lumberjack. So he dropped out of school, didn't he? At a very young age, right? Could you imagine dropping out of school at 15? You can?
Right here. You skip a rock on the pond. I can.
You'd be a freshman in high school. There's still so much more to learn, right?
Every time I go to Lawrence to see my grandma and grandpa, I go past Lawrence.
You go past Lawrence or what?
My grandma and grandpa.
Oh, they live in Lawrence.
Yeah.
like a block away from where you live.
Okay, so you didn't see any words in there that you needed help with, or you didn't know what they meant?
The only word I didn't know it was
Hebrew.
Hebrew language, it's like ancient.
you're ancient.
Would that be something you would want to look up and know more about? Not just, I mean, it does tell you that it's an ancient language that many ministers study, but
I'm gonna do that.
What?
you're gonna look up what Hebrew is,
And I'm gonna play some.
okay? How sad was that his brother had a terrible pain in his side and they thought it was just a plain old stomach ache?
That would be.
And then he ended up dying of a bad infection.
If I didn't
They could've been
have
saved.
him, I'd probably be a little sad.
Do you think maybe he had an appendicitis?
If it was
You know you have your appendix in here, I think it's in your left side.
think there's something wrong with
And it gets infected, and usually they can just take it out. But sometimes, if it gets infected quickly, and it can spread throughout your body, and you can get really, really sick and die from it. So maybe that's why his side hurts so bad, do you think? Maybe. I don't know, maybe.
There was this girl that my brother knows, and she's like in preschool still. And last year when she was like 3, she got
Did she have to have her appendix taken out? Mm-hmm.
because she had pain.
Mm-hmm.
And she had to get something out.
Yep, my sister had hers taken out.
I'm never gonna get
Shit. Do they knock you out when they do that?
Yeah.
They do.
If they don't,
Otherwise, yeah, it hurt.
good thing they numb your jaw when they give you cavities.
Mm-hmm.
And root canals.
I know it.
My jaw.
So did you guys look at that graphic source right there?
Yeah,
What is that?
like a picture of what it looked like when they played it.
Where they played what? Duck on a rock?
See, and the only reason I had that up there because because this is my teeth that was behind it.
Oh, yeah?
That's why it's so big.
Braden. It's like you do it, and then there's a spring.
No, you
Hello, rock.
No, you throw it, and then you do use the springs like, and then go back and then go shake it.
You know, you put it to read next 2 pages.
Just 2 of them?
Seriously.
So what do you think some of the stuff was?
Is there?
Do you think James had a hard life?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he fell through ice.
Okay.
His parents died and stuff.
And then his brother
Okay.
died.
And then his brother died.
And then
What else?
And
He
then
dropped out of school to go to work. Do you know what a lumberjack is?
and his grades were there.
Do you know what a lumberjack is?
Somebody who chops down trees.
And let me talk.
And he's lumber.
What's a
Sometimes
lumberjack?
you can say that.
A lumberjack is like this man, like I am, but stronger. I'm stronger, and it's like they chop down trees themselves and make like paper with like they're like or they make like tables. They're like or Raymond. They're like Raymond Worms and Raymond.
So then, after he was a lumberjack for so long, what did he decide to do then?
Play basketball.
Go back to, he made a plan to go back to high school, right?
But you're
I thought
15.
you
You go
graduated.
back to high school when you're 20.
Yeah, well, thank God, because he dropped out at
15.
15.
All right, have a
5
seat.
years later,
20. That's when you're in high school. I mean, that's when you're in
finished high
college.
school and went to
Very
college,
quickly.
right?
When he was rich.
Right.
Oh, there's actually
Look over that way.
fall off.